This is going to be African spirituality at its best, because a lot of insight is going to be given as it refers to libation. Yes, libation. So if you don't know what libation is the pouring of wine to deities. And if you don't know what deity is, you need to check that out yourself. Okay, I will make it simple for you. Deity is the same thing as gods, God or goddess, or a divine being. But in the Christian religion, that God is interpreted as the supreme being. Now, this, as in deity, is another topic entirely for another video. So if you want to know more about these things, just press that red button down there so you can get more knowledge. All right, like I said, I'm so excited about this topic because it's an eye-opener. So I will be talking about what libation is all about and how libation is performed. And this is for educational purposes. But if you find that you can relate with it or it's beneficial to you, then by all means, do practice it. So one aspect that baffles me is what is used to perform this libation itself. And the most common item here is wine. But before we go into libation itself, I want to talk about the Christian religion, which I am fully aware of and I have had to practice for most of my life. Hello everyone, welcome back to Breakage Barriers. My name is Blessing. What I do here is talk about culture, as it affects Africa. Africa. So you find that in the Christian religion, there's a lot to do with wine. And in the Christian religion, it talked about Jesus and wine. I mean, not him drinking it and getting drunk by it, but using it as way of a ritual. First, the first ritual that is so prominent in that usage of wine is the Last Supper. And the Last Supper happens to be a ritual that must have been performed regularly while Jesus was alive with his disciples. And this was one of the last rituals that Jesus performed before he passed on. In the ritual of the Last Supper, one of the items that was used is wine, and of course, like we all know, bread, according to the Bible. This wine, if you pay close attention to it, you see that it was always poured. When poured, it was passed on from one disciple to another disciple. So it was a common ritual that Jesus must have performed many times when he was alive. Then second is the turning of water by Jesus Christ to wine, according to the Bible, when he was at a wedding party. In that party, they ran out of wine, and what the mother of Jesus did was to quickly run to Jesus Christ and ask for his help. Such help today will be considered as magic. Magic. Have you heard that word before? Yes. Black magic. Magic. Scripture tells us that water was presented to Jesus, and this water was then turned into wine for all to drink. So these are the two prominent instances that I just want to point out in the Christian religion. So going back to the African spirituality, Christianity was introduced to Africa just about, I think, 1,000 years ago, but Africans had their own spirituality. Africans had their own way of relating to the Creator. And one of these ways was acknowledging their ancestors, showing respect, honor to their elders, to the aged people around them, and most importantly, to their parents. This last one is also confirmed in the Christian Bible. Honor your father and your mother. In the ancient African spirituality, the veneration of ancestors was very important. These were the ways of showing love and gratitude to one another. Love when it comes to giving, and gratitude when it comes to receiving. It is the one that you extend love to that becomes appreciative of the love that has been extended. So in appreciation, the one on the receiving end is full of gratitude. And that's how the world in the ancient African era worked. But of course, after colonization, so many things was messed up. The culture was messed up. Of course, that was the way of life for the African people. Most of the artifacts were taken away, and these artifacts were representative of the African deities. Today, most of those artifacts you can find in the Western museums. In correspondence to my previous video, I'm going to be explaining and at the same time showing you how libation was done in the ancient African era. Oh, this is good. In Africa, libation was very common. Most of our grandparents did it. Presently, because most Africans have come to embrace the Christian religion, most of these libations are sparsely practiced. Although it has been diluted anyway, you can still find some people still practicing and upholding the tradition of the ritual of libation. So the culture is not entirely wiped away. You can still find it, which is great because it gives us the chance as a people to be able to investigate these things and understand better how our ancestors, hundreds of thousands of years ago or millions of years ago, lived their life successfully on this earth. I found that in the practice of libation, there are some items that are important. The first is wine or water, depending on your affordability. Second, candles. And third, remembering or calling on the names of the deities. So, for example, the last one, when it comes to the deities, depending on what part of Africa you come from, you could belong to the Bantu, and some belong to other tribes. So I know the Yoruba tradition, they have been able to sustainably keep their tradition. So they are still aware of the names of their deities. Depending on where you come from, you need to find out your lineage and the names of your ancestors. You need to know your ancestors because they are your roots. It's like you knowing your parents. You can't separate yourself from your parents, especially your mother. A woman is the door to the world. So what door did you enter the earth with? You need to find out where your lineage is. It will help to understand you as a person and your ancestors. To be able to live this world completely, we cannot do without the divinity. In fact, the spirit is so important to your well-being because when you leave everything just to just things that you can touch or your flesh, then you go astray. Even the Bible confirms it. Say, when you do things, don't do things in your flesh. In your flesh. Jesus Christ so many times, spoke more about the spirit. When you want to do this, do it in the spirit, in the spirit, in the spirit. Why do you think he said those things? Because the spirit is very important, because the spirit completes the flesh. The flesh without the spirit is incomplete. So that's where the indwelling divinity falls into place. And different religions call it different names. Some call it meditation, some call it spirituality, like we have the African spirituality. But in the African context, libation is honoring, showing honor and appreciation to the divine, to guide you in the journey of life. Another thing you must understand is that for every human being, we are all energies, just like electricity. We have positive energy and we have the negative energy. And the question here is, before you go into libation, what energy are you? Are you a positive energy or a negative energy? Just like we have some people who claim to be Christians, they call on the name of Jesus Christ, which is supposed to be a positive energy, but their energy is so toxic and negative that they end up using what is meant to be positive as negative against others. So when it comes to libation, it's not for everybody, but for those who have been convinced and have appreciation for divinity. So in being able to actually practice the ritual, the way it's done, it's that this is where you take the wine, a good quality wine, but if you can't afford it, you can as well use water. And what you do is that you take that wine alongside a candle. If you choose to use a candle, you can do, but it's not compulsory. What is compulsory is the wine or water, depending on your affordability, like I said. So what you do with the wine is you call on the name of the deities, you thank them, appreciate them, just like you do in prayers, and then you pour part of that wine on the ground, usually from a cup or a jug. Then you speak whatever prayer line you want to speak, like appreciating them and telling them whatever it is that you want to say to them. And then you pour it again, you thank them, you appreciate them, you acknowledge them, and you ask them to guide you in this journey of life, because they have been here on earth before you, so they know what it takes. So there is nothing evil about libation, like some other religions have brainwashed you against your own African tradition. There's nothing evil about it. But never underestimate the fact that you need to appreciate your ancestors, just like you appreciate your biological parents who are here, still here on earth, to guide you aright. Okay? So I can sit here and tell you, okay, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, and you might still not get it completely. So I'm going to leave you with a video that is going to show you how the libation ritual is performed. African culture is full of great wisdom. African culture is rich. Africa itself, just like the culture and the people, are rich. Don't let anyone else tell you anything in opposition to this. Look at the way Africans, and when I say Africans, I mean all dark-skinned people, are being treated all over the world. And then a certain religion comes to tell you not to appreciate your ancestors. Is that not a double slap in the face? First, they disrespect you as a human being just because you're dark-skinned and you have beautiful woolly hair. And then, second, they tell you not to appreciate your ancestors that has passed on in the likes of your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. They still ask you not to appreciate them. And you nod to them and say, yes, your grandparents and great-great-grandparents are evil. Really, really wake up. Because when you look at other cultures, they have not forgotten their ancestors. Look closely and you see that they still appreciate their ancestors. So why shouldn't you? With this, I say thank you very much for listening and watching. See you next time. Take care now. Bye. Bye.
Okay guys, our family members, Sheila, Joanna are in. So we're going to give thanks to the gods for bringing them safely. Of course, it's the right thing to do so. Other man come up here, show me soon. And I pay, let's hear the was. And Jinsun who see the show. Young can look at him, Papa. Let's hear the was. So I say, Mammy, a monsoon, but I'm our Jinsun. You see, she's home to connect to you. She came through your gate, Nana. And she's grateful that even in her lifetime, she's woken up to discover the truth and make it home to you. Nana, we are grateful. This is her drink. She's saying thank you for bringing her this far. Every step of the way you've been guiding her, you've always been with her. She's never made a decision without you altering it or guiding it or directing it. So therefore, you never do anything that is not meant to be done for her. As she is here, we say continue to guide her, continue to protect her. Evil can never come close. It's only wellness, it's only goodness, it's only success, it's only blessings. Everything she does will do well. Everything she touches would end well. There's not a single thing she will lay with her hands that will go the other way. She is indeed the life of the party, the glue that brings everybody together. The love that glues everything, because she is coming from you. She's indeed a bright morning star. When all fades, she will still be shining. Thank you, Nana. Watch over her. This we are giving to the strong spirit, the ancient gods, the gods that move in power. How do man come, Papa? The show said you, Edwas. Sasia Mammy, that's a Jensen, Edwas. It's true to me, none. All the powers, all the ancient ones, all the powerful ones, all the ones that war, all the ones that fight, all the ones that defend. We said this morning, receive this strong drink. This is coming from our farm. This is coming from our palm trees. This is coming from where our elders directed us to. You walk with power. You intercede, you fight, you war, you defend, you protect. We ask that you protect these ones, that you war over them. Even before we go into it, like the cars and the vehicles these days are using all the sensory system. We say become their senses. Before we walk into danger, let the danger itself swallow itself. It will not happen that we walk into anything that would entangle us into any situation that we cannot come out. We are even delivered before we go into the situation. We are brought up, we are secured. Everything we do, wherever we step our foot,